Right then, welcome back to the channel. United have finally got a game of football tomorrow night. Nottingham Forest away. A team that, weirdly, is occupying a Champions League spot since December when they beat us at Old Trafford. So, not to be messed with. Now, Nuno's got his team playing really well. They're organised. Defensively, they're strong. They've got a lightning-quick counter-attack, which is not going to be easy. And I actually think this is one of the more difficult games, not just because Forest are doing well. I just think stylistically they match up against United's weaknesses really, really well. Even though we're growing in confidence after knocking out Sociedad and beating Leicester, there's not a million things there that make you go, do you know what, we're absolutely flying. We're the underdogs going into this, and we should be. This is going to be a very difficult game for us. There's a lot to like about what Nuno's doing. Now, he's messed with different formations in the past, but with Nottingham Forest, it's predominantly a 4-2-3-1. That's their base formation. There's a bit of defensive stability and also attacking threat. And you'll typically see a back four with Matt Sells in goal. That'll be flanked with Aina and Nico Williams. Centre-backs will be Murillo and Milenkovic. And a bit of a robust pairing. There'll be a double pivot in midfield. You'll often see Ryan Yates and Sangare. They'll be tasked with screening the defence and trying to break up play. Then you'll see Morgan Gibbs-White as a bit of a creative number 10. He looks to drive transitions and link play. You'll see Elanga and Hudson-Odoi stretching the pitch, looking to get in behind, and Chris Wood as the lone striker with a bit of a dominant physical presence up top. I expect a really good 1v1 matchup with Matthijs de Ligt and him. I think that could be a very key battle in the game. Defensively, you will see them go into a 4-4-2 mid-block. Not completely dropping all the way in, but they'll be very narrow, they'll be very compact, and you won't be a lot of space in between the lines. You'll see the wingers looking at tuck in and try and clog up the central area. And Nuno occasionally has tweaked this. Sometimes he's gone to a back five. Sometimes it's a midfield five. He's not adverse to throwing an extra man in and letting the opposition defence have the ball depending on what their threats are. If someone's got a big in-behind threat, you're going to want to put pressure on the centre halves or whoever the deep line playmaker is. If they're a team that wants to maybe weave it and knit or don't have a lot of pace, he'll go quite aggressive with where that line is for the mid-block, and he might even drop someone into the back line or the mid-line just to overload one of those areas. Forest's defensive approach is pretty much characterised by looking to frustrate opponents, win the ball and transition fast. That's what they're excellent at. It's a very compact shape. They will have 8 or 9 players dropping into the penalty area when they are big and under pressure. You saw that recently in the 1-0 against Liverpool. You saw that in September in the 1-0 against Liverpool. And it's a layered defence that blocks the lanes and forces opposition wide or into speculative shots from 25, 30 yards. Now, that might be something that Bruno ends up picking up on. They have controlled pressing as well. They don't just tear ass after you. You'll see Wood and Elanga usually selectively deciding to engage who and when to disrupt in the build-up. Midfielders will typically hold positions and look to occupy spaces and be in a line with each other rather than just looking to go and win the ball at all costs anywhere on the pitch. They'll often try and squeeze the pitch, trying to have a compact system that plays as a unit rather than a midfield pushing on and chasing and then maybe a bit of a drop off to where the defence is. The defence will be the ones that's kind of driving that squeeze all the way from the back. They don't tend to get pinned in too deep, and that allows them to be as deadly as they are when it comes to the transition. Their attacking play, on the other hand, has been all about directness and efficiency. They tend to not be asked about taking the ball in the slightest. They'll hover anywhere between 35 and 40% possession in most matches just to try and focus on a high impact switch and transition. Sells will frequently go long from the goal kicks. They try and use the aerial ability of Wood, or they'll look to go in one of the channels where Elanga or Hudson-Odoi can get on the end of the ball and run or put pressure on the opposition. If they do opt to play out the 4-2-3-1, is an option for them that allows them to do that. Fullbacks will advance cautiously and they'll look for Gibbs-White to come in and be the player that's overloading and getting on the ball. They excel in the counter-attack. They leverage what Hudson-Odoi and Elanga do best, which is running. And a standout example of that would be when they battered West Ham 3-0 back in November. Gibbs-White fed Wood. He laid it off for Elanga and he scored. Gibbs-White often gets on the ball in the half space. He can turn, he can play a ball forward, he releases wingers, and then he gets forward and joins the attack himself. Hudson-Odoi and Elanga will alternate between stretching defence and cutting inside. Both of them have got the ability to do that. Elanga's got 4 goals and 5 assists by the time of recording this. And that highlights the growing influence he's having in terms of end product. Hudson-Odoi is probably a better dribbler, and he unlocks tight defences with that. He had a brilliant solo run against Fulham back in February, which highlights that. And Nuno's not afraid to both tweak and adapt it mid-match. As I said, we've seen him in the Premier League in the past go with a back three, and he went with a back three against Brighton in March after trailing. He put Morato on to shore up the back, and he kept Gibbs-White as a bit of a counter outlet. I do wonder if he goes with a free, because United are going to go with a free. I know managers typically like to copy what... If someone's got a bit of a dogmatic system that they play with, opposition managers that are adapting to that will typically copy that, especially when it's a back three. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nuno actually put Forest out with a 3 against United in this game. They are defensively resolute, they are lethal on the attack, and they are dangerous from set plays. It's an absolute nightmare situation for United. If United can go and get a point out of this game, I'd be impressed, actually, especially when you've got City coming up at the weekend. 2 losses would be pretty catastrophic for us. But, you know, a win and a draw, I'd probably take that if that was an offer for us right now. Star man for Forest, I think, is Elanga. We're looking at 13 goals and assists in the league this season. We know what he represents. Top tier athlete, pace, power, work rate. He's adapted his game recently too, become a bit cleaner with his final action and his final end product. And he is a Premier League Player of the Month nominee, so has to be dealt with. In terms of United, the match winner for us is De Ligt. They are a serious threat from set plays. The likes of Wood is obvious, but Milenkovic also is an absolute problem at set plays. So his defending the box and physicality is going to be absolutely key. He will be tasked with keeping Chris Wood quiet, and I think it's going to be a really fascinating matchup watching them two go at each other, because I think it's going to be a pure old school style battle, and it'll probably have a big impact on how the game goes down. United will not win this game if he doesn't get the better of Chris Wood. And these other things need to happen as well, but that's one that needs to happen. In terms of the 11 that I'm going with Onana. I think Yoro, De Ligt and Mazraoui round out the back 3. I would expect it to be Dalot, Ugarte, Bruno and Dorgu. And then I think Casemiro pushed slightly up to try and stretch the play a little bit when we do get on the ball with Xerxes and Højlund. And this I would like to see almost roll into a 3-5-2 a little bit rather than the 3-4-3 that Amorim is more known for. And I think the personnel that are on display will actually make it more like that rather than tactics or formation. But I think Dorgu will have a big hand in this one as well. I think his ability in this game to overload in that back line, to pin Forest fullbacks back, is going to be very much needed. I also think he'll be the attacking outlet and width. And if Dalot can continue this sort of change around in form that he's had, that'll be quite positive for us as well. Right then, this video is sponsored by Hollywood Bets, and United travelling to Forest looking for back-to-back away wins. Forest are looking to build on their excellent home form, which has seen them all the way into Champions League placing. The reverse fixture did see 5 goals. I don't know who's scoring those goals for United, but it could be another exciting encounter. Here's the bet that we're going for this week. I'm going for both teams to score. I'm going for over 8.5 match corners, over 2.5 match cards. Bruno Fernandes to have 1+ shot on target, and Elanga to have 1+ shot on target. That's gone from 5.2 25, 27 to 1. If you stick a tenner on that, you could get £80 back. And if you'd like to get involved, all you got to do is click the link in the description. And if you are new to Hollywood Bets, you can create an account and take advantage of the new excellent customer offers, which are also linked in the description. As always, odds are subject to change. You must be 18 years of age to participate, and football is unpredictable, so this bet is designed to enhance your viewing experience and certainly isn't a guarantee of a win. For more information on responsible gaming, please check out begambleaware.org. Now, how do you beat them? Tough ask is the truth. They are one of the most dangerous teams in the league from set plays, so you've got to be a hell of a lot better defending the box. I think, like I said earlier, De Ligt could be result-defining in his performance. You've got to have a strong rest defense. You've got to be aware of what's coming. Euro needs to have a really good game, whichever side he lines up on, and whoever it is that he gets tasked with marking, whether it's Elanga or Hudson-Odoi, he will be challenged in this game. If you leave them space, if you try and go 1v1 against them in the back line, Elanga's going to have an absolute field day. It'll play right into their hands. So you've got to make sure that you're +1 in the back line at all times with someone with pace to cover in behind, because that will be our undoing. There's going to have to be sufficient defensive cover, and it's going to have to be sufficiently athletic enough to make sure it gets back, because they are a genuine, real threat. If United can pull out 3 points here, we might have turned a corner. I just don't have the confidence that we will have done that. But we live in hope, and I tune in hoping to be surprised, as always. Let me know your score predictions in the comments below. Cheers for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.